talking about psychoanalysis, you mentioned in the book that his father, Heather,
Yeah.
had a horrific childhood
Hmm.
where at some point he was even, I'm assuming, burned or tried to, like he was contained in a steamed cauldron of some
No,
sort.
in a kettle drum, a nagada, and beaten on a huge.
So he emerged from a severe traumatic childhood to usurp the throne from the Wadiars. Let's go here. Let's go to Hyder's history. First, this particular incident to drive home the kind of generational trauma he will then inflict on his son, perhaps. But then the usurpation. I can't say the word for some reason.
Yeah. So Haidar's father, I mean, his ancestors were supposedly from the north, some say from Punjab, that part of the subcontinent, and then they settled down in northern Karnataka, which is where his father, Fateh Muhammad, he gets into the service of the Nawab of Sira. And when in 1721 is when Haidar
Sorry,
is...
historically, Sira is what today?
It is Sira only.
Sira, okay.
Yeah. So in Karnataka
In
it is.
Karnataka, okay.
So and his in 1721 is when Haidar is born, and quite eerily the astrologers actually predict that this boy is going to bring the death of his father, and so a lot of his relatives advise him to get the baby killed by giving it poisoned milk, but Fateh Muhammad refuses to do that. He lets the child live, but in a perverse, manifestation of the same prediction, when Haidar is 4 years old is when his father dies in battle, and there is he owed a lot of money to somebody else called Abbas Quli Khan, and to get that money back, Abbas Quli Khan sends his armies. They raid Fateh Muhammad's house, take away all that is there, and these two boys, Haidar is 4 years old then, and his elder brother Shahbaz is about 8 years old, and both these boys are then put into this big kettle drum and beaten upon till the time they're almost exhausted and faint there to get as much money from the family. And at that very, very difficult situation was when his mother Majida Begum, she runs away from the place and makes her trip all the way to Srirangapatna to meet the Maharaja of Mysore and plead with him for mercy for her fatherless sons. And the Maharaja then takes pity on the boys and pays off the debtor, and also assures the family that he will take care of these two boys, and when they come of age they will be employed in the Mysorean service. And he lives up to the promise. Both brothers get a position of a junior rank officer in the Mysore army.
Little did he know.
So Haidar makes his first entry into the Mysore political firmament in 1749 in what is called the siege of Devanahalli, again near the airport today, and from then it took 12 years. In just 12 years, this man manages to have such a dream run of machinations and conspiracies and all of that, running with the hare, hunting with the hounds. He'll probably put all our modern politicians to shame in the kind of wiliness that he had, and manages to overthrow the same benefactor who actually saved his life. And in 1761 is when the usurpation happens, where the Wadeyar is deposed.
What's the exact details of the usurpation? Does he slowly gain military power till he one day seizes the throne?
So it's a long journey where that time, that's why a substantial early part of the book I also devote to the politics of the time. The southern India is in a huge political chaos at that time. You had wars of succession to the Nizam's throne in Hyderabad, to the Arcot Nawab, in Tamil Nadu. And the British and the French also get into these wars. You had the Carnatic Wars, which raged. Then you had Dupleix, Robert Clive, all of them playing their role there. And Mysore also becomes obviously a participant to this. But by then, the Mysore firmament had become so weak. The Wadeyar ruler who was there, Krishnaraj Wadeyar II, he'd literally let power, pass off into the hands of his commanders called Dalavais, Devrajayya and Nanjarajayya, the two brothers. And they had literally emasculated the king and the throne.
If you want to watch small segments of the podcast, subscribe to Tosca's Clips.
And corruption, embezzlement of funds, all that was at an all-time high. And in the course of this war that happens, Carnatic War, there's a siege of Tiruchirappalli, and to get Trichy, which is today Trichy, Tiruchirappalli, Mysore, under Nanjaraj, it's involved in this really, reckless campaign which flees, really drains off its treasury completely. Everybody loses in this war. Mysore's treasury is really exhausted. Nanjarajaya loses all his credibility. The only person who makes the maximum hay while the sun shone was Hyder. He loots the armies. He creates his own little standing army. He comes into contact with the French. He uses the French to build his little army that he have, and slowly he catches the attention of the Maharaja, who is quite impressed by his valor in the war. And so step by step he's rising the ladder of political success in Mysore. He gets Dindigal as a Faujdar. So his axis of influence slowly starts expanding, and in a manner that these people, Nanjaraj especially, was his political mentor. But once Nanjaraj fell out of the favor of the Maharaja, even Nanjaraj is quite astonished to see Hyder just drops him like a hot potato without even bothering to stand by his mentor. So wherever the end is all mattered, the means was not something important. But that time the Mysore court also was full of conspiracies, full of political flux. Nanjaraj, who was the Dalwai, he's also the king's son-in-law. His daughter is married to the king, and despite that, he tries to go and assassinate the Maharaja right in the middle of the court. There's a Bollywood drama. His own daughter, who's the wife of the king, comes and stands in protection of her husband, saying, "Meri laash pe guzar ke you have to go and kill my husband." So all this drama is happening there, and in the midst of all this Machiavellian man manages to find the best opportunities for himself, and he succeeds. So I think in terms of leadership skills, in terms of diplomacy, statecraft, and how you need to maneuver your way to your advantage when everything around you is in a flux, I think Hyder's story gives us that insight. And towards the end, when his power starts improving quite a bit, then that the royal family realizes that, oh my God, we were actually trusting this man and he's becoming too big for his boots. And at very late in life, they try to effect a palace coup against Hyder through one of Hyder's own accomplices called Khande Rao. So he and the Queen Mother, they conspire, they try all this, but that also fails because right then is the 1761 Third Battle of Panipat. And the Marathas, who had been called in to help the royal family to expel Hyder, they are unable to come on time. And so again, Destiny's Child. He was Destiny's Child, where right things happen at the right time. And he manages to come back, and there's an open court where the king literally, he tells the Maharaja very clearly, I'm happy to go away from this place, provided you clear all my dues. And the dues ran to almost the revenue of the kingdom.
And the treasury is...
Everything
starved.
is almost empty. And so he says, in lieu of that, then I will become the dictator, the Sarvadhikari, the dictator of the kingdom, and you be the puppet ruler. You will be given some kind of money for your upkeep. But
like a proto-princely purse.
Correct, yeah. Exactly. And the royal family, had no other option. The king was signing his own, obituary, but he had only himself to blame for that. And then they also request him that, Khande Rao, who was your man, who now helped us in this operation, please treat him, mercifully. And Hyder says, oh, don't be worried about that. I will treat him as endearingly as I treat my parrot. So they are assured that, okay, he's going to take very good care of him. Little did they realize that he actually kept his word literally.
Yeah.
Like a parrot, Khande Rao was put in an iron cage and fed only milk and rice for the rest of his life. And in the heart of Bangalore, in one of the bazaars, was when he was a public spectacle. People could come and see and mock him. And he died inside that cage.
And he would defecate there only? Like
everything. Yeah, everything. And he died there. And even several decades later, people said in the Bangalore bazaars, we had this huge iron cage in which there were bones. And even his body was not even given a funeral. So when he said, I will treat him as endearingly as my parrot, little did anyone realize that he was going to take it so literally.
Man, I think modern politics has become so boring where, of course, we're in a...
Exactly, that's why I said...